Welcome to Spotlight on the Arts. I'm Patrick Christiano, your host, the publisher of TheaterLife.com, a website for theater buffs covering all things theater. And today we have a special guest, our friend Dianne Benson, the co-president of the Longhouse Reserve of Board of Trustees. Dianne, thank you so much for coming. It's such a pleasure to have you.
Well, it's always a delight to see you, Patrick, and to be here at LTV.
Well, Jack Leonard Larson has left you and the Board of Trustees with a really encompassing task to keep this place, his vision, to keep his vision.
Well, you know, he always called us trustees. He never called us a board of directors, as many foundations do, because it only became really clear once he was gone from us, the implications of that trust and what that implicit, complete faith that he showed in his board to do the right thing by his legacy. And I mean, what he trusted us with, the precious 16 acres and the incredible house of Longhouse and all of his collections that he amassed over his lifetime. I mean, he left it to us, but the real beneficiaries, of course, are the community and the students and the people that will be inspired by this for generations upon generations. So we trustees have really felt the weight of this responsibility now, and we have many things to accomplish. We have many things to accomplish. We have to, you know, Jack built a house to live in it, and live in it he grandly did for 30 years. And now, like any house, it needs some refurbishing, and in order to welcome the public, it needs, we have to comply with the Disabilities Act. We have to, every stairway, every plumbing fixture, everything about the house, while not changing the essence or the vibe or the flavor,
Right,
has to be addressed. So that
does all this have to be done before you can let the public come in?
well, right now we still, you know, we invite individuals, but before we can actually promote it as I'm not even sure we want to call it a house museum, because house museum always sounds so rigid and stiff. And if there's one thing about Longhouse, it is not rigid,
No, it's
nor
totally
stiff.
flexible. Yes.
And so
It's just
so
a
it's a
multidisciplinary place. It's like, yeah, it's
yes.
very flexible in all kinds of ways. You know, let's, for our viewers that might not know what Longhouse is, we have the eminent architect, Peter Goldberger.
Paul Goldberger,
Paul Goldberger.
the architectural critic. He's the finest, I think, architectural critic of the 20th and 21st centuries. And we are very, very fortunate to have him. He sits on our arts committee at Longhouse. And we're very, very fortunate to have him as a friend of Longhouse. And last year at our winter benefit in 2021, we honored him, and in honoring him, he made and this was during COVID, of course, and so he made a virtual architectural walk through Longhouse, which was part of our virtual benefit. And I think it would be great if you can show that.
No, we have about 2.5 minutes of Paul talking about the house.
Okay, great.
And Jack's vision for the property at the same time. It's really nice. Could we have that?
Everywhere in these 16 acres, you can feel the spirit of Jack Leonard Larson, but nowhere, of course, as much as in the house itself, which no one in the world but Jack could have created. He did not do it entirely by himself. The architect was Charles Forberg, a man of great talent who had the rare ability among creative architects to work comfortably with equally creative clients. He and Jack had a great relationship. He was able to understand Jack's ideas, translate them into reality, and make them better. Jack Leonard Larson's sensibility was always broad. He passionately sought out other cultures, especially those of Africa and Asia, and brought their influences into his own work as a designer of textiles. Longhouse, finished in 1992, was Jack's homage to the extraordinary temple at Ise in Japan, perhaps the greatest of all Shinto shrines, which Charles Forberg helped him craft into a great villa, lifted above the magnificent landscape that Jack was shaping around it. Ise provided the inspiration, but this is very much a contemporary house. Jack located all of the living space on the upper level so that the house might soar over the landscape. The lower level is a kind of open, semi-public gallery that connects to the outdoors, while the more private spaces are above. You enter by climbing a hill and crossing a bridge to the front door, an entry at once ceremonial and grand. It is a door that you truly have to make your way towards with purpose. Once inside, the scale of the house opens up with a two-story stair hall, a modern version of the great central stairs of classic villas. And then you move into the main living space, where there is both monumentality and intimacy. As Jack Larson was himself, both formidable and gentle, so is this space, where his collections and his furniture are all arrayed together in such a way as to combine the precision of a curated gallery installation with the relaxed air of domesticity. Jack said he loved wasted space and he loved display space, and it was his genius to combine these things in such a way as to create no sense of excess, and always a feeling that this is not a museum, but a house. But what a house! Soaring space, light, always connected to the landscape, but at the same time looking inward to places where great objects join together to provide serenity.
Serenity. Serenity.
Serenity.
It's a place of serenity. I mean, not the house, the whole place.
Well, people, use those spiritual words all the time when people visit, I mean, it's, you leave the world outside when you arrive at Longhouse, I think, and with all its, I mean, in those 16 acres, there's so many different moods and so many different things to, depending on what draws you, some people are totally drawn to the art on the grounds. Other people are drawn to just the spirit of the place, and they seek out the quietest corners and, the moss garden and behind the amphitheater, where it's a beautiful, almost primeval forest. And it means, I think it means very different things to different people, depending on what turns you on, And for kids, now without the fear of COVID hanging over us so much this year, we're able to be
as much. Let's be real.
But we are receiving 5 or 6 busloads full of school kids each week now again. And
you have educational programs too, right?
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Yes, it's a huge component of Longhouse, our education programs and department. And right now, this time of the year, the kids are getting ready to out of school. The weather is beautiful. They come and they're exposed to all the things that are Longhouse. And we have a program called the Student Annual, which is in the works right now. So the teachers of the individual classes, whether they're first graders or seniors in high school, they ask the kids to respond to what they have seen at Longhouse.
Oh, how fabulous.
They can do it by writing a poem, making a dance, creating a piece of art, a drawing, anything that they, fashion design we've had.
And then what do you do with the things that they've created?
So then we have what we call our Student Annual. And this year is the, last year we didn't have it live because of COVID,
Right.
but we gathered all the work and we made a beautiful catalog, which we'll do again this year. And this year we are having it the 3rd week of June. They follow our website and you'll see it. And it will be installed on
It's
display.
Longhouse.org, right?
Oh yes,
Longhouse.org is the
We're very
website.
easy to find.
Very easy, yes.
And so we display all the work from these kids, and it's amazing how intuitive they are, and the variety.
What age groups? Wait.
From first grade, or maybe even pre-first grade, to seniors in high school.
Oh, wow.
So and we group it into like the middle school and, 8th to 10th grades. We group it and we divide it into, poetry and to ceramics and to the categories, and, we give them a little certificate, and they have this
Oh.
pride of presenting their work at Longhouse, and their work is a reflection of what they've
Yeah,
seen there. And
just
what
that's
they've-
beautiful.
It's
It's a
great.
really beautiful thing. And how long have you been doing it?
I think this is the 11th or 12th
Bravo.
year.
God bless you.
And it has mushroomed, of course. It started very small with maybe one or two teachers collaborating, because it's a lot of messaging. Has to go back and forth from the teacher to
Yeah.
the kid. Then all the work has to come to Longhouse, and has to be looked at, appreciated, and installed so that other people can see it and that our visitors can see it. So it's a all around, it's a great thing. And we give scholarships. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yes. And this year we've had a
And how do you choose the winners?
people submit their applications,
Mhm.
and they're judged by the education committee, and sometimes we on the board pitch in our ideas, and we give 3 scholarships and we have 2 internships. And this year we've been able to raise the amount of the scholarships a little bit because we've had some additional donations. So now I think the scholarships are $5,000.
Oh, wow.
And every year, we hope for the scholarship program to really continue to blossom and be really meaningful to these kids. So it's a great thing.
So you're following through with Jack's vision to stay relevant and to pass it on,
Yes,
to play it forward. Is that what it's called? Play it
Play
forward?
it forward, that's one thing. Or play it by trust, which is the name of our Yoko Ono all-white chess set that has...
Which is something I wanted to weave through this whole thing, was trust, which I haven't been doing very well. But you, in your career, I saw, because you were on we did a show 2018, 4 years ago, and you came on. Just before you came on, they had done a piece on you in Vogue.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
Really fabulous, and I didn't know all that about you before. I was blown away by the power of the lady that's sitting in the chair next to me at this moment.
Well.
No, we had a gorgeous Robert Mapplethorpe picture of you, and you
Oh, there
dealt
was-
with Cindy Sherman. She used to come to you had 4 stores at one time. Yeah, you were, so what the point I wanted to make was, it took a lot of trust to do all that things, and from interviewing you and looking at that interview, I think you just did it without even knowing.
Well,
I mean,
faith.
faith.
Faith in yourself and the people around
That's
you.
trust. That's what trust is.
It is. It's a trust. I think that the whole thing of trust, it's the basis of all relationships, or relationships that are meaningful or worthwhile,
But yes, they are, but it's a keynote to your relationship with Jack, and how he selected you, and now Nino, also co-president with you, to perpetuate his vision.
Yes. Well, that's, I touched on that before, that it's an uttered act of faith on Jack's part, to leave everything to the trustees, and without, he left us some money, but without huge restrictions on how we go forward or how that money is spent. He wants basically his money to be largely spent on the garden, but he trusts us that we will raise the money it will take to make the changes to the house that need to be made, and he trusts us to carry on Longhouse not necessarily as it was or as it has worked or has been, but within his vision and within our mission, which is living with art in all its forms. And that means everything, every blade of grass, every napkin at a reception, of course, every piece of art, every plant that's placed has a reason, every color combination, everything that he's chosen to be a part of this world, you know, was as much to say, living with art in all its forms. If you see it here, you can do this too, if you consider your life.
Mm-hmm.
And if we can grow it at Longhouse, you can grow it too, you know. And if you, and of course, the Longhouse is on a scale that not everyone can relate to or achieve. But there's
No, but you achieved in your own minimal ways. I mean, it's not about the scale.
Well,
it's
but
about the
there's-
message.
Yeah, the message, and there's a, you know, there is, without question, there is a special vibe at Longhouse. You know, you can it's not so much you feel Jack's presence, but there is a spirit at Longhouse. You know,
Well, there's
that
a
I think-
peacefulness there. That I mean, when I use the word serenity, but I feel peace, and it isn't peace that comes from just the environment. It comes from all the art, all everything, kind of the textures and the layers create it all.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have a gala again this year. You had one last year.
Yes, we are definitely having one on July 23rd. You know, last year at this time in May, we had to make a decision whether or not we were going to try to have one, because, you know, the pandemic was, at least we have 2 years almost history now behind
So you mean
us.
last year you did it on short notice?
We decided at the last minute to do it in such a way that people would not be thronging together, there wouldn't be closeness. So we decided to spread it out all over Longhouse. So we had music one place and food another place and food trucks another place and reggae dancing another place. And so it was a great party, and there was no...
Bravo going, it was absolutely fabulous.
It was a great
And to
party.
think you did it on such short notice is unbelievable.
And so the whole idea was not to have that de rigueur sit-down dinner, and not to do it the same old way, and not to have speeches and honorees, and just to do it, make it.
It was so much fun.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, we have about 2.5 minutes that I'm going to show of the party last year.
So this year we are doing it. It is a hybrid this year between our benefits of yore
Mm-hmm.
and last year. We decided, because there's so much newness on the ground, we're not honoring one artist. We're honoring all the artists that are on the ground, and most of whom will be with us. We are.
You mean all the sculptors, Dale Chihuly will be there?
Well, I don't think he will come.
Okay.
I'm talking about the new one
Okay,
that is
I'm
on the
sorry.
ground mostly. We've tried to get Mr. Chihuly several times in the last years, but he's not much for traveling these
Oh,
days.
okay.
But he's very generous with
But
his.
he does recognize Jack as his mentor, correct?
Oh, he does. He does.
I mean, he's,
Well, that's why we have so many beautiful Chihuly pieces at Longhouse, and why the first time Dale Chihuly ever hung a chandelier in a tree or did any kind of outdoor sculpture, it was at Longhouse in the 97, 98.
I remember.
It was the first outdoor Chihuly show was at Longhouse.
I remember it.
So, you know, and our famous blue spears, I don't know if they showed in that.
I don't know. Let's show them. We have a clip, a 2-minute segment. I don't know, minute segment from the gala last year.
Oh,
that kind
okay,
of-
the last year's
It's
gala,
a lovely. It
so
transitions from day to night. It's really nice.
Okay, so watch this, and then we'll talk about this year's.
Yes, we'll have about 3 minutes to do that too.
Okay, great.
Long house, can you hear me? All right. And all the chef them love reggae music. Chef them love reggae music. And bartenders love reggae music. Bartenders love reggae. Yeah. I wanna jam it with you. me with you. We got me, 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 we got me. Hope you like, hope you like. Holy, yes. Holy, yeah. Holy. Say, we got Ben on saxophone, I'm saying, just to know. Yeah, yes, ain't no rule, ain't no rule.
Wasn't that fun?
But they cut it too short.
Oh,
we didn't get the whole thing that I had.
On July 23rd, we are doing it this year. It's called Onward. And we're saying go with the flow, wear a caftan if you like. And it's going to be, we're going to have a girl band, the Cherry Bombs.
Oh, wow.
We're going
Where
to
are
have
they
a
from?
fabulous, here, we're going to have a fabulous gospel soul singer,
Do you know who it is?
Joy Jan
Oh,
Jones.
wow.
And we're going to have our wonderful Royal Chaos, our reggae band, because they're so great.
They're
Joshua
terrific.
Werber's going to come and make headgear that goes with our Go With The Flow. And there'll be, beautiful food.
Can the men wear caftans too?
Oh, sure. Or harem pants, or whatever you like. It's in the spirit of, if you remember, Jack would appear in his various costumes.
Yes.
So this is it's a way of freeing everybody's imagination up by saying, go with the flow. And so I think it's
Come
going
in
to
your
be
most
great.
exotic pajamas.
Or that's good too. Exotic pajamas. That's
Yeah, you've
good
got
too.
some really good
But we're
loungewear
not
ones.
going to spread it out quite so, because people last year, some people felt like they were missing out, that there were too many things.
You felt like you wanted to be in 2 or 3 places at the same time.
So we're going to localize it a little bit, but there's not going to be a stuffy old sit-down dinner. But there's going to be lots of fabulous food, fabulous bars. Last year we poured all the drinks through flowers, and we're going to do something like that. It's going to be fantastic. We're working on all the details now, and July 23rd. It's expensive to come to our benefit, but it is a benefit.
No, but it's a benefit, and it's a wonderful time, and it's a long event.
And we're less expensive than our other local art institutions. So, and to keep Longhouse beautiful, and to welcome everyone, and to welcome all those school kids and do all the things that we do,
It takes money.
It
Nothing's
takes
cheap.
money. It's absolutely an important ingredient.
When we have the house, you have to refurbish a little bit too, so there's a
Yeah,
lot.
well, that will come over time, and we're doing some things that need to be done immediately, like really basic, really unglamorous things, like we need a new boiler.
I know. I have a house.
So
Yes.
we're keeping up with the house while we're better understanding the code and what it means and what has to happen over the next years. But we're in no hurry.
I want to thank you so much for coming.
we over?
No, we have about a minute, but
Oh.
I just want to wind up and thank you so much for coming, and remind everyone to go to your website, longhouse.org, and get their tickets for the gala, July 23rd. Is that it?
July 23rd,
Uh-huh.
come to see the student annual in the third week in June.
There you go.
I know that we have a series of talks that take place on Saturday evenings and Sunday evenings with various artists and things.
But they can find everything on the website.
Everything's on the website. We had a wonderful one last Sunday with Jorn Amelon and see his beautiful pictographs. Really wonderful.
So visit Longhouse, longhouse.org, and get out and visit the grounds. It's a fabulous place here in East Hampton. Dianne, thank you so much for coming. It's my pleasure.
Thank you for having me.